Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of A Moment of Gratitude with the Sanctuarian. Today, I am so excited to welcome Lori Falk, and we're going to go ahead and have her tell us a little bit about what she does. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And Jocelyn, thank you so much. Looking forward to this conversation. So, I'm Lori Falk. I am a residential interior designer. I do residential homes and also private office. In doing that, the reason I got into design was because I really enjoy helping people. I want to help them to not only have a beautiful space to live in, but to make it more functional and to be able to really enjoy that space, whatever that needs to be for them. You know, if it needs to be a sanctuary, kind of taking off of Jocelyn's, then that's what it should be. And so you need to design and incorporate that for your clients or for my clients. And so those are really important aspects to me to be able to bring that to people because especially now when we're spending so much time inside, it's so important.
Of course. And definitely these times of a pandemic have really, I think, opened people's eyes to what's not working in their home. And that's why we're seeing a lot of the people really getting into the organized. They're really getting into designing and changing up the space. And they now have the time to do that. And I think a lot of people have just kind of pushed it aside. And now they're realizing, okay, I can commit to this. Like I have this duration of time. What else am I going to do now that we're all working from home, having to learn how to have an office at home and like navigating that, I think is huge. What are some things that you've noticed with the pandemic that have been changes or even things that you've had to overcome as a business owner during the pandemic?
Well, I think as many business owners can relate to, there are many challenges right now. But a lot of those I have been doing virtual design for a while. So that's not something new to me. I'm not accustomed to doing it so much. I usually do get to a project site and be able to get to see the physical space because sometimes photos and videos don't give you the depth that you need to see as a designer to really know how a space is going to all come together. So there are challenges to that type of design. But so far we've been able to navigate those. And so I expanded my business because New York shut down. I expanded my business to other states. And in doing that, that's worked out really well.
That's fantastic. And it's kind of a little exciting now that this tough time has really kind of helped kind of catapult and make you want to even just expand your thinking of, oh, I can expand to these other states and how can I make that happen? Well, of course, staying safe with COVID and everything like that. Are there any practices that you've had to put in place now that you've expanded to the other states and still being able to do some in-person work?
Again, I had to really get creative to make sure that the client was comfortable working in that fashion because most of them, they may have worked with a designer before and may have worked with me before, but weren't accustomed to being able to show video of their place so I can actually see the space. And so coaching them into moving a little slower and backing up so that I can actually see the space a little bit better. And so it's working with people in that way. Suddenly they have become camera people and video people. And so, yeah, you're trying to make sure that you can see what you need to see to be able to assist them to the best of your ability. And so, yeah, it's helping them guide them through that. And that works out really great.
And that's exciting. I know I've talked with some other organizers that went fully into virtual organizing and just learning about, okay, there's things that you and I look for when we walk into a home of, okay, how can this work better? And kind of getting that vision already, where when you're having to do it from a camera, you're not seeing the little nicks and cracks and like the corners that nobody wants to show anybody. and having to really dive in with those clients that way. And they're starting to get a little bit of that vision of how we view a space versus how they're viewing a space. And I think that's just something that is helping individuals we work with grow as well. They start to see how different things start to work together a little bit for a space. So we have someone, Sahib. I apologize if I say that incorrectly. She says, "Hi, Lori. Please tell us about what you are most proud of during COVID in your business."
I would say probably just being able to continue to assist people, making their homes function and more beautiful. And that's really, at the end of the day, I've been doing this for over 35 years. And that was the reason I got into design was to really assist people, to not only make their home wonderful, but to make it more functional, to work with them. And if you were talking before about how people are suddenly seeing things that don't work, things aren't working for you. They are taking up precious time and they're making you frustrated. And so those are the things that you really need to solve for yourself and get some assistance with that, because sometimes we don't always see it. We don't see really what the problem is. We just know we don't like it, that it's not working. And someone can help guide you through that, a particular space and what have you, whether it's that new home office now that you're trying to get a lot of work done and you're finding it not so easy to do. There are usually reasons, and sometimes it's just a matter of I watch people, sometimes I ask the questions, I just really need to kind of delve in and see what's going on or what's not going on and what needs to change.
Of course, and I think having that outside viewer who's coming in without any expectation of a space, that it helps them kind of narrow down exactly what needs help. I know a lot of clients that I've worked with constantly kept going out and buying the newest thing because they thought that was going to really help add function to their space, but it wasn't working in the way that should function for them. And I think it's a huge thing for our clients to actually feel the courage to ask for help. I feel like a lot of individuals out there are wanting to have that change, but they're not ready to quite make that step to ask for help. And I think that is one of the biggest things that our viewers just need to realize, that we're here to help. We're not here to judge. And we're just looking to help them create a space that's going to work for them and not work against them, especially now with everyone being at home so much.
We're problem solvers. It's what we do.
Yes.
It's what we've been trained to do. It's what we're really good at. And it's amazing because sometimes people don't realize that, we all have our certain way of doing things, habits, what have you. And a home needs to work with you, not against you. Or a space needs to work with you. A desk needs to work with you, not against you. I've got a client right now who's having to get massage every 2 weeks because she's working at her dining room table. And I said, it's too high. You're holding your shoulders up in order to keep. That's not working for you. We need to change this.
Yes, absolutely. Are there any quick tips you could give our viewers that aren't quite ready to make that step to ask for help, but can start kind of creating that space for them?
Absolutely. Just take a few minutes to step back from your space. How has your body been feeling since you've been working at home, since you've been, raising, having kids learning virtually, all of those things now that has changed for us. And how has your body been feeling physically? Like my client who was having all these shoulder issues, she didn't realize it until I told her what was happening. And she says, now I get it. She goes, I can feel myself raising my shoulders as I'm trying to work on my laptop. So those are some of the things that can physically help you. And if they physically help you, they're going to make you more efficient. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
make life easier for you. You won't have to go out and maybe find other services to assist you, like massages and those types of things. So it's biomechanics. It's knowing what works for you and what doesn't. Sometimes, you just have too much stuff in your space and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. And you, Jocelyn, you know this. Sometimes there's just too much stuff around you,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it hard for you then to really concentrate on what you're trying to do. Sometimes you just need to clean out that space, whether it's
Yes.
putting it in a box right now, just to get it out of your space, see how it feels to you, start adding back in just a few things to see how that works. Only add what you use on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, other things, hopefully, you can find a file drawer or a box right now works too. We all don't know how long we're going to be doing this, so make it work for you. And that, of course, means it needs to work for everybody in the household because it's not just all about you at the moment. So,
I completely agree with that. And I think a lot of our viewers too are, even if they worked at home before, they're now having to learn how to work from home while having the kids at home with school, and how they don't realize how much time that kind of takes away, because you're always checking in on them, making sure that's happening. And I know for me, I just recently moved to California, so I was used to being out working everywhere and having to sit at home. And I can't tell you how many times I had to go to different areas of the home because I just wanted something different. And one space, I just was like, I'm not productive here. I need to find a different area. And so I then started venturing out once things started to get a little bit safer. And I realized I need to rent an office space twice a week just to get out of the house and have that different scenery. And again, being around other professionals that are doing kind of the same thing and just wanting to get out of their house, it's, oh, I see them working and I'm feeling inspired to continue getting more work done and things like that. And just being social again was a huge thing. And for me, being new to the area, I have a couple family members out here, and that was the only people I knew in the area. And not having any of my connections that I had developed and grown in New York City. So I was basically starting from scratch again and having to figure out, how do I restructure my business to fit these times? And being a new business in the area where nobody knows about me yet. So it was like, okay, how do I get my name out there during this virtual time where now, yes, everybody's a little bit more on social media. So that's where I really got into the social media management and virtual assistant stuff, because I love working with business owners and individuals on just alleviating the stress of all the nonsense that comes along with having a business and being a professional. And I can use my organizing skills to help them alleviate that. So it kind of
absolutely
gives them a little bit of that relief somewhat.
It's so true. And you're really covering so many of those points that you had made. You miss the collaboration, you miss the socialization, you miss the motivation. And so anytime you can connect with people on those kind of levels, that's a very positive experience. And that's what a lot of us, I think, we're really missing right now. I happened to be walking through Central Park the other day, and I heard someone express to someone, I miss the people I used to see every day. They were part of my routine. They were part of my world. And I miss them.
Absolutely.
And I think we all feel that. We miss that routine. We miss those people that we have see day in and day out. And suddenly they're not in our world anymore.
Absolutely. And I can definitely agree with that. Like walking down the street, going from point A to point B, just the people that you would see regularly at the like corner stand or things like that. Even if you didn't have a long conversation or anything with them, it was still a hi, wave, hi. Like it's people you would see all the time. Exactly. Yep. And it was just kind of like you said, going through that routine. It's people you would expect to see every time, and like just putting a smile on someone else's face, where now we have to wear masks. Everybody looks angry, and like having to learn how to smile with our eyes. And so,
It's true. And you know what? Our hands still work. So if
yes,
you give a little wave to someone, it can mean the world.
absolutely. Oh, those sirens! I miss that sound. It's so
I apologize, everyone, but we are broadcasting live from New York, so sirens are one thing I can't control.
yes. I definitely know that after time we don't even start to hear them. It just becomes so normal that it kind of blends to the background. Um, So, what is some advice that you would give some of our viewers out there that are interested in starting their own business or even going into design?
So, what I would say to individuals who are considering about going into the design field, be true to yourself. Know who you are. Know what excites you at the end of the day. Is that working on AutoCAD drawings or, Revit or some of those programs? Is that what really you love getting up every day and doing that? Know what you want to do. There are so many broad areas in design. I know
Mhm,
designers who just design custom jets, custom yachts, so know where you would kind of like to go, what gets you excited, and stay true to that, and you'll always be happy with what you're doing. Now, that doesn't mean you aren't going to change or that
mhm,
some opportunity comes along that you might be a great learning experience. Um, but again, you'll always want to come back to what gets me excited, what gets me up every day, because that's what will sustain you through this. I meet lots of clients and they're like, oh, it must be so exciting and so much fun to spend other people's money. And it is, but that's about 10% of what I do. The rest of it is a lot of hard work. It's project
mhm,
managing suppliers, contractors, making sure that the right product, the right size was ordered so it timely comes in so it can all be put together. So it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, and you're making sure that all the puzzle pieces are there. And so it's a lot of project management, it's a lot of hand
mhm,
holding, it's a lot of phone calls, checking up on things. So
mhm,
from that standpoint, I think a lot of people go into design thinking, oh, I'm going to design all day, I'm going to be very creative, and it's going to be very fun. And it is, it's all of those things. But it's also being very organized and
mhm.
methodical and doing all those things too. But it's great because at the end, when it all comes together, it's so much fun. And the best part is when a client says, oh, Lori, it's more than I even imagined. And what a gift to be able to give someone, if I can make it easier for them to live in this space. They enjoy the space. It's beautiful. People come in and go, wow, this is amazing. That brings a lot of joy. So we'll,
Absolutely.
we'll get back to those gatherings again. Right now, they might be
Oh,
very small. Everybody has their little bubble they kind of, um, face with. But someday we'll get back to those larger family gatherings. So, or
of
even
course.
friends. And yeah.
Absolutely. And I think too that design is like one of those things that just is always evolving. And there's so many working parts that are continuously being created or added in. And I think that's some great advice is just to really kind of narrow down what excites you.
Yes,
Because in the end, you want to be doing something that you're really passionate about and that because it
absolutely.
makes going to work so much more enjoyable. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. I
I
mean, it's just it's what keeps you going when things don't go well. And everybody
mhm,
has a job where you have those days that things
mhm,
just don't go well. This is the thing that keeps you going. It's like, no, I'm excited about this. I love this. And people are like, oh, how long have you been a designer? And I'm like, going a very long time, over 35 years. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's the only thing I ever wanted to do. It's still
mhm.
the only thing I want to do. It still gets me excited day after day to see creative spaces come together, solve problems for clients, solve
Mm-hmm.
problems for contractors, and bring it to life. You know,
Yes.
it's really I'm grateful that, you know, I have the skills to be able to do this job. And
Mm-hmm.
so it really, really has blessed my life, you know. And so from that standpoint, I get as much as I give.
That's fantastic. Yes. Is there any piece of advice that you've received throughout your career, or even just in life, that really kind of stuck with you and inspired you to actually take the dive and go into designing?
I would have to say that came from a design mentor. Um, and his comment to me was, Lori, just follow your heart. Because he says, from a design standpoint, he says, it's what's in there that will come through. And he says, just bring it, you know. And so it helped me not question too much
Mm-hmm.
about my direction and to trust in my creative and to be able to put that out there and give that gift to people.
I love that. Is there how do, how do I want to word? Um, what would be the most rewarding part of being a business owner that you feel?
I would have to say, you know, being a business owner is definitely difficult. It's,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, it's not a 9 to 5 job.
No.
You know, it's the paid holidays and those types of things are, you know, it gets to a point you have to really grow the business before you can get there. And so from those kind of things, those are some of the challenges. Um, but I would say the rewards are great. You know, I love being able to be in charge of how I work with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
When I was new in my career, of course, you know, I worked for other people and they wanted you to do things a certain way. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't always agree with that. I wanted to bring integrity to what I
Mm-hmm.
did. I wanted to be able to lay my head on the pillow at night and not be concerned about did I do right by that person. I wanted to make sure that what I was presenting clients was face value and it was completely transparent. You know, if this is how much it costs, this is how much it costs.
Mm-hmm.
And I like working with people in that fashion. And if people like to work in that way, that's how I work. I'm very upfront with how I charge for things, very upfront about what I'm going to do for those charges. And so from that, I find that people, a lot of times they say, oh, interior designer, oh, you're super expensive. Yeah, I can't afford you.
Mm-hmm.
Not really true. You have to, number one, find the right designer. Obviously, the more experience they have, um, they're probably going to charge a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people out there new to the design world who aren't charging as much, but they have knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So they may work within your budget. Or maybe you just hire me for an hour consult to help you with a particular problem that you seem to be having.
Mm-hmm.
Those are ways that maybe you can afford some assistance without it really being a huge expense. Now, for some clients, I take it from concept to completion. You know, it just
Mm-hmm.
depends on what their needs are and how I can best help them. And so a lot of times I'll just charge a flat fee and say, I will do this, 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 and this for this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are a little more comfortable knowing, okay, I can budget that. I know what that end number is going to be. And I think that makes it a little easier for people to realize that, oh, I can afford an interior designer. This does work within my budget. And
Absolutely.
everybody
And
has a budget, you know.
yes. Well, and they're really seeing the value that you're bringing to it, because when you're able to lay out this is what you're going to get for that,
Yes.
they start to see the bigger picture of, oh, okay, now this is something that I can really take into account and think about, and it's something I can move forward with. So we have another viewer that, so Ritu is a New Yorker like you, and she wants to know has the attitude of your local clients changed toward our city?
I'm going to answer that with no. The people I am working with right now in New York City, and I'm working with several, this is home. And I think most people do feel that way. I'm sure nationally people have heard there have been people moving out of the city. But for those of us who are here and working and living, this is home. We love New York. We love the energy of New York. And so, we want to make this the best place possible for us and for what we do day in and day out here in the city.
Yes, that's great. So we actually met at a networking event. Are there any types of networking events that really kind of draw you a little bit more than others?
I would say serious networking events draw me. And I think most people who are serious about their business would say the same. I'm not going for the food. I'm not going for the drinks. That's all wonderful and fine. But I really want to be able to meet people in different businesses and connect in a meaningful way. And if I connect with one or two people that night, that's awesome, but I am looking for that meaningful connection. So I want to be able to go to an event in a space that people can actually have conversations and get to know each other.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. I know through my experience of networking in the city that I would much rather have those connections that I could continue to grow with throughout and connect with and refer and different things. Because again, I'm still young in the business journey, my business journey. And so I love hearing everyone else's experiences and learning from things that they've overcome and that they've gone through and just the advice that they had, that it made it so much more worth it to walk away with a few connections than trying to tally as many as I could get from that event. And I think the event that we attended together was great because it was just more intimate and everybody there was very serious and really wanting to make connections with people and weren't just there to pass out their business cards.
Absolutely. It's really making that meaningful connection.
Yes, absolutely. So where can the viewers find you? What social media platforms are you currently on?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. You can also find me. I have a website, Lori Falk Interior Design. That's LORIFALK interiordesign.com. And you are able to view some of my portfolio pieces there. And always happy to have a conversation with someone. So do feel free to reach out in whatever platform that you're comfortable with. Always happy to, if I can assist in some small ways, always happy to do that.
Absolutely. And one last question I have for you is there a project that you've done that really was kind of like your prized baby, that the one that you always look back on that really like felt like it's your prized baby, the one that you're really proud of?
I get asked that question a lot, and I always come back to it's my current projects. They're my babies, and I'm always pushing myself to do better design. So it's not that I never look back, but I'm really looking forward. The design world is changing so fast. Our technology is changing so fast. Even white papers now with so much information regarding design, biophilia, ergonomics, all of these things, biometrics that affect design and how we design for people. We talk about health and how design can benefit our health or be a detriment to our health if we aren't specifying the right products. So there's
Hmm.
so much knowledge out there. I have to say it's my current projects. It's the projects I'm working on now. They are my babies. They're the ones I'm most excited about because what I did 10 years ago, I didn't have the knowledge base that I had 10 years ago. And so now we've got smart homes we're working in, where I can just press a button on my phone and the garage door goes up, the lights come on, the music comes on, and the fireplace lights up, all with the press of one button. So it just depends how integrated you want your home to be or how
Hmm.
simple you want it to be. Maybe you want to unplug when you get home. Maybe that's not what you're looking for. So that's the beauty of design. We have knowledge and we can tailor that knowledge to what works for each client, family situation.
Well, and like we said earlier, everybody has their own version of a sanctuary, and that speaks true to it. And so, do you have any questions for our viewers that are listening today?
I know this whole series has been on gratitude. And so I would encourage the viewers to just maybe put in the chat what you're grateful for today. Um, and maybe that list is long, so just give us one. But I think it's so important that on a day-to-day basis, we kind of consider what are we grateful for today? I mean, and
Hmm.
there's many things. It's hard sometimes, health, family, friends, but sometimes when you've had a really rough day, just thinking of that one thing that makes you really, really grateful, it brings us hope for a better
Yes.
tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a better day. And that is the
Yeah.
one thing gratitude gives us, and that's hope. And
Yes.
so, my hope for all of you is that you can find amazing gratitude in your day to day, because I think that's really important.
Well, speaking on that, what are you most grateful for?
It does change every day, but health is a top priority for me. It's a priority in my life.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's really important that, what I put into my body and how I exercise, and that's always been a major part of my life. Family and friends are always high on my list. So
Yes.
many, many things to be grateful for.
Yes. All right. I just want to thank everybody again for joining us. Thank you so much, Lori, for being a guest today. And again, I will be sending out a newsletter to everyone. If you want to go ahead and go to jflowersorganizing.com and join our mailing list, I'll be sending out a recording of our conversation today, as well as all of the links that we've mentioned, so that you can find Lori on social media and her website as well. And again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for all of your wonderful comments and questions. And we'll see you again soon on our next episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
You're welcome.